Hi everyone, welcome to a book update. So it is a beautiful Thursday afternoon. The beautiful blue skies are glowing. The lovely sun is nice and warm, and the green grass is glowing greatly. It's a beautiful picture outside. However, I have to say it's still winter, so the coldness still likes to creep up on you. Yeah, especially during the night. But anyways, enough about that. Enough about that. I have to focus on the main point of this video, which is an update on my book. So I just want to say I'm going to be using a lot of code names because I don't want to use the real names of my books. So I'm going to be calling this book Book A. Now I've been working on Book A for a while, and there were plenty of revisions, but so far the story is slowly climbing up to what I would say feels cozy enough and pleasant enough. This book A is going to belong to a massive amount of books. It's going to be a massive series, really, and obviously this is not the type of series where it's episodic. This is going to be an epic saga. And yes, there's more planning needed, but overall, this primary book needs to come out because it's so far pretty fun. However, I have to say that there is an issue. Now, this book, it's still not finished. However, I feel like there's going to be a lot of words in it. Now, obviously, this primary book, in fact, all of the primary books I plan to write are going to be really small compared to their sequels and whatnot. And the reason for that is I just feel like, starting off small is better, especially for a great foundation. Even if I'm not working on those epic sagas, I still want to work on something small first, and then in future books I can really broaden up my stories. But anyways, this primary story is going to be pretty small, but the truth is that I don't think it's going to be like 50k words small. Now, obviously, I'm just speaking from the heart and assuming greatly, but I don't think this book is going to really fit under the 50k mark. Now, the reason why I'm having such a word count in the first place is because it does cost a lot of money to hire a bunch of editors, and even just one editor is going to cost a lot of money. Now there are plenty of editors to find online, and I found a few that I think I will approach them eventually when my work is finished. But obviously, many of them do charge a hefty amount for 10,000 words, 20,000 words, 50k words, 100k words, and there are a few of them who do charge a reasonable amount for, you could say, 50k. You know, I think that's wonderful, and I will approach the ones with reasonable prices. However, the thing is that that book A that I'm working on is obviously just not going to fit. That's just what I'm assuming. So yeah, that's the problem. Even if I self-edit this book multiple times, it's not going to reach under that amount. And all I can say is I have to really work on something pulpy, something equivalent to, just swift stories to get out there and be published. Not something I would say that's terrible. Obviously, I don't want people to think that I need to just publish anything just to earn some extra money. But the truth is that I have to really throw in book B. Now, book B is going to be a bit small. It can belong to a series, maybe not. Just started working on it, and it's going to be the equivalent of those pulp stories. And um, obviously, it's going to have a lot of sensationalism, and in my opinion, it is going to be, I don't want it to be so deep in the sense of you have to, like, you have to you have to add so many words, because that's the problem that I have, where I am so detailed with sentences and descriptions. I don't need to be so detailed sometimes, but I need to have a books, at least this book, book B, to at least come out and be under 50k words. That way it would be cheaper for me to edit, and then when I publish the book, whatever I make from that book, I can then focus on other series, especially book A and its follow-up sequels. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because it's really bothersome, and I really want to get the book out. And look, I really like to have these epic sagas, epic details, even for like small stories. I keep thinking about adding so much detail and lore. It's my problem. It's a problem I've had for years. Even when I was a kid, I would always want to expand on all of the characters I created. I never really wanted just to have a very simple story, and that's just my fault. So working on this is going to be a fun challenge. So far the story is great. Unlike book A, which is going to be a children's series with a mixture of horror, this book B is going to be, I would say, quite a gruesome book. I've had this idea for a while, I would say since 2021, even maybe a year before that too, possibly. I have to really check on my folders and files, because I have a bunch of ideas written on it, and a bunch of like, a couple of dialogue, character descriptions and stuff like that. So I have to check on those old manuscripts and see really how long it was. But from today, when I searched an old and a really old document, it basically stretched back to 2021. But who knows, maybe I had the idea before that. But regardless, it's a pretty gruesome concept. I feel like it's more gory than horror, but I don't really know if I can really blend the two in, because it's going to be quite messy, red and messy. And hopefully the series, well, hopefully this book actually sells well enough so I can focus on the future books. Also, I just want to say that, okay, now enough about the books, more about myself. I also have an issue with my sleeping schedule, and it's my fault. I can't blame anyone but myself. I have been so all over the place with my sleeping schedule, and that's because I'm so busy, staying online, searching a bunch of stuff, watching a bunch of music videos, even though I kept telling myself as I watch those videos to just go to sleep. And then by 10 o'clock, I'm sleeping, and when I wake up, I'm miserable. I feel so tired, my bones ache. It's my problem, really. And I really want to fix that today. So I'm going to try my best to be strict as possible to myself and make sure I get the appropriate amount of sleep. And yeah, I just feel so tired, even when I just go to write, I just feel so tired. So yeah. And as I look at the beautiful picture outside, which is really I would say really warm right now, because the sun is shining directly onto my face, and it's a pretty hazy day today. So yeah, the skies are out, beautiful, and just now it's going to change the full scene, because evening will soon set, and then everything will be very cozy. But anyways, yeah, when I look outside, I'm feeling so inspired. Like I want to write like 1,000 pages of work. Unfortunately, um, I'm just so tired. So I feel like that's an issue that needs to be, really changed, because if I don't change my sleeping schedule, then I will be so tired to write tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think. And I'm sorry for not telling you the book names, because obviously, if I do, then it's just going to be pointless. And I know I've been working on books prior to this, but throughout the years, I kept changing plans. And it was only till last year I realized that I have to just put my feet down and not change plans. I'm going to be working on both books simultaneously. However, obviously, book B is going to just, be finished really quickly, and hopefully it's published really soon. Hopefully people get to enjoy that book, and I hope they get to stay around for other books, because I plan to write for different demographics and different genres. Anyways, I'm so tired, my eyes keep closing. Bye.